So, welcome back everyone to yet again another episode of Abandonment Issues. This place is dubbed the War Letter Bungalow. I want to say a big thanks to an exploring friend of mine who dropped me this location, and they pretty much saved my whole entire trip, really. So yeah, I was on a mammoth trip and everything I seemed to hit was a fail, and I was incredibly ill. So yeah. So anyway, thanks to him, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It's all GoPro footage, I'm afraid, because I still weren't feeling 100%, so yeah, sorry guys. I know I get a lot of criticism for moving too fast and not being able to see what I'm actually looking at, but that's why I put the photos in, so you can get a better view of things. But going back to the Explorer at hand, this bungalow is due for demolition. I think they're building like a 3-bedroom house upon this land, or something along that lines. But yeah, the bungalow itself is collapsing. It's pretty much a wreck, but it had a large amount of history to it, which involved 2 people. Now, I'm not going to mention their names fully, but one of them went under the name Basil, and the female went under the name Dodo, which I thought was incredibly odd but cute at the same time. Now, before I go any further, this bungalow barely had anything inside of it. Minimal items to photograph, really. Most of the floor had collapsed near the front door. As you're about to see in the video, there was a ton of letters scattered on the floor. Now, these letters ranged from 1941 and they progressed onwards, and almost every single letter began with "Dear Darling." Now, the letters that I'm talking about were basically sent to, should we say, Dodo. I'm not going to use her real name. I just use the nicknames or the pet names that they called each other. But yeah, so these letters were sent possibly during World War II. They were a constant back and forth motion between each other, which was actually rather interesting to read. There was talk of Basil, the gentleman at hand, flying a Spitfire. There was also him talking about other planes that he had flown in the past. And yeah, there was a ton of history amongst these letters. And yeah, it's a real shame that they're just going to be like put into the ground, really. Because obviously, war stuff and everything else pretty much gets swept under the rug unless it's, in a museum. Now, obviously, these letters wouldn't be that interesting to most people, especially a museum, but you got to think about this. There was 2 people involved during a war, and they were talking to each other. So you can kind of imagine the conversations that they were having back and forth through pen and paper. And to be honest, reading through it all was rather interesting, and I kind of wish I spent more time reading through the letters and the odd bits and pieces that were just left. But from what I gathered, this was obviously a family home. They obviously had children. Even though the place was pretty much empty, you could still feel the memories inside this place. And I think that was the part that I found really fascinating. But anyway, here's the first load of my shots. So as I said, it seems that they had children. I'm unsure of how many. It also seems that they obviously got married, and it also seems that they spent most of their time living inside this bungalow. Now, judging by the remains of what was left and some bits and pieces in the outbuildings, it seems that Dodo, the female, was the last person to be alive out of both of them. Obviously, I have no idea, how old their children are now. I have no idea where they went. I obviously have no idea about anything else about their personal life. And the only information I do know is the fact, obviously, of what happened from the 1940s onwards between this couple. But it's very, very interesting. Now, obviously, what I've just photographed there is a plaque, which you probably just saw the picture of, and I say it's a plaque, it's more of a hanging plaque. But the plaque itself gives me reason to believe that they had a daughter, obviously. Now, like I said, there isn't much left of this place. It's due for demolition. The letters itself hold some significance to the two people involved. But exploring this place was really, really interesting, because it kind of took me back to when I pretty much very first started, and I'd come across shells, but these shells would have minimal things inside that you could work a story around. Now, obviously, there's enough information inside this bungalow to have a story, a really good story, one I wish I could really tell, and I could go into detail, properly. But obviously, until the bungalow is collapsed and maybe the letters have all vanished, maybe then I'll tell the story a bit more. But for now, as I just said, the female, Dodo, she seems to have outlasted the husband, and the husband, Basil, seemed to have passed away when he was 71, I think. Now, obviously, like I said, they had kids. They had travelled quite far. They'd obviously spent a lot of time together inside this bungalow, and it's kind of beautiful, really. Maybe I'm the only one that would find this kind of explore interesting, and as you can see via the video, I'm rooting through trying to find bits and pieces to photograph, to document, to obviously tell a story just through my photographs without talking. But the building itself, like I said, due for demolition, probably won't last the year, probably be gone by probably May. But the building was rather special in itself, just due to the letters and the postcards and a couple of picture slides which kind of showed, like fragments of the family together, which yet again is also interesting. Obviously only interesting to explorers who, actually document places rather than just walk in, take a few room shots and leave and post to social media. Now, that's never my thing. I tend to root around, I tend to hunt for things, I tend to try and tell a story. It may be one of the things that separate me from other explorers, I don't know. But regardless, I really love this place. Like I said, big thanks to a friend of mine for helping me out with this location, because the whole trip was pretty much a big disaster. There is something special though, when you do houses with minimal stuff in. There's always something special about it, whether it's the atmosphere, whether it's the odds and ends that are left behind. Compare it to like a really bad hoarder house, or as it's now dubbed, grandma's houses. There's always something special about little bits and pieces inside an empty house. And as I said previously, it reminds me when I very first started exploring and uncovering anything. Now obviously you just seen another selection of my photographs, and you can still see me in the video rooting around, being a bit arty-farty with everything, but yeah. I'm not really sure what else I can really say about this property. I mean, yeah, there's just bits and pieces inside here that really need to be cherished in some way, and in a way I kind of wish I had more time to document the letters and the odds and ends, but at the same time I kind of like the mystery behind it. But yeah, after we finished with the bungalow, we decided to look around in the outbuildings. Now the outbuildings were also a little bit special because yeah, you'll see it in a bit later on, but yeah, there was a few antique style items there which caught my interest, but at the same time, you know, we were kind of yet again rushed for time, and yeah, we can't spend so long inside a place. I mean, like I said, I've been criticised for not showing what I'm actually looking at, and I move too fast, and yeah, but you know what, I tend to rush. I work at a faster pace. I just turn the GoPro on basically and just get on with it. Sometimes I use my other two cameras to record, like I did in my previous video, but 9 times out of 10 it's mainly GoPro footage, and yeah, I work at a fast pace, so you know, you can't be like taking forever inside these places because you just don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if the police will turn up, you don't know if someone's seen you climb in. You know, you can only spend so long inside a place until you kind of get the feeling that you should leave. Yeah, so, you know, sorry I'm not so, you know, not so longer inside these places and showing you guys what I'm actually looking at, but like I said, this is what my photographs are for, you know, so yeah, I'll try and go a little bit slower, depending on location, and I'll try and capture things a little bit more slower as well. But yeah, we're in the outbuildings now in the video. I just photographed a really old typewriter. I'm photographing yet again another sewing machine. I mean, they're like 10 a penny inside the abandoned houses nowadays, especially in the UK, and they were many years ago. So here's the last pictures of this place as well. So, as it's coming to the end of the video, I want to thank everyone for enjoying my recent videos and subscribing. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Obviously I didn't want to share too much, just, you know, some things don't need to be shared, some things just need to be kept with you, I guess. But anyway, stay tuned for the next video, because yeah, it's a good one.